Good evening, I'm Lance Kim.
And I'm Ava Keller.
And for this month, we're representing Hempfield Happenings, a student-run news show from the Communications program here at Hempfield High School.
This month's news show is complete with stories ranging from a Hempfield football player's journey through rehabilitation,
the Quiz Bowl team winning states,
and how a robot brought an elementary classroom to the state's capital.
This is the June show, and you're watching Hempfield Happenings.
Leave your sculpture in the center of the table with the piece that needs to be glued.
Walking the halls here at Landisville Middle School, art is unavoidable.
For about 10 years now, students at Landisville Middle School have had the opportunity to make a lasting impact by painting ceiling tiles around the school.
The ceiling tiles that the students do, it's totally their choice. It's an 8th grade privilege. And so when they come in 7th grade, I tell them that they have an option to kind of like beautify the school and have something permanent.
The process that goes on is more complicated than one may think.
It needs to be like interesting dynamically as far as the design goes, and then once they get that, they bring it to me, I approve it, they send it to the teacher, they take it to them and say, do they like it, do they have any suggestions, then they bring it back to me. And then you do a color overlay with tracing paper so they can plan what they're going to paint. And then after they do that, then they will take and they will start to prime the tile just like you would any other painting.
As of now, there are about 85 painted ceiling tiles around the school, as well as 15 others currently in the process of being painted.
So my ceiling tiles for my English teacher, Ms. Deem. She loves nature, so I decided to just paint like some mountains and a forest and a sunset because I think it's a lot of fun to paint those things too.
Our painting is a math tree since it's a math teacher. And we did a sunset and a tree because she likes nature and sunset, so I thought it would go well together.
Not only are the ceiling tiles a fun way for students to leave their mark on the school, they make the school a more positive environment and have a special meaning to the students who paint them.
In schools, art definitely impacts. Some students just come to school for art. And I know it because I've heard it at this level and I've also heard it at the high school. Sometimes what will happen is they will have the chance to be expressive, come up with an original idea. They have to persevere in order to get that process from their idea to completion. Also for them to be able to have something more permanent.
I feel like it just leaves me in the school because I'm leaving, like me and my friend, and it'll just show how we like the school and the teacher and our favorite subject. I make art because it just relieves my stress. I can just put my feeling and into my art. I don't have to have a specific guideline. I can just make whatever and it makes me less stressed.
At Landisville Middle School, art is all around you. Sometimes you just have to look up. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Paige Gruber.
Fashion and art are both forms of expression that individuals use to express themselves. Through prom and fashion shows, Sarah Vanderlaan experiences firsthand how these two worlds collide.
Here at Hempfield High School, the variety of extracurriculars makes it easy to find something that you can enjoy. In Hempfield's contemporary fashion classes, 6 senior girls have decided that instead of buying a prom dress, making one was more of their stitch.
Well, I wanted something that was like more of a velvet, so I picked that kind of fabric. And what inspired me to make my prom dress is, I wanted to be able to design something and be able to wear it to prom that was like my own.
I wanted to take on the challenge of making my own dress, and so I tried on some dresses at other places, and I just decided instead of spending all that money, I could just make it myself and make it exactly how I wanted it.
I was like looking for prom dresses other places, and then I realized that they were really expensive and I could like probably do it for less expensive if I made it. I wanted something that would go nice with a tan, so I decided to do white.
But also it's very hard to find like one that fits and the style you want and everything, so then I just designed it myself. I just looked at a whole bunch of dresses online and I really like this color.
So I made my homecoming dress, and that was like really last minute, but I had a lot of extra time for my prom dress, so I took my time, and it was about like 3 months.
It's black velvet, there's straps, and it's a very big like floral-y skirt, so yeah. I had a really complicated pattern, and I started first semester because I knew it was just going to take a long time.
So I think I started mine at like the beginning of February.
Like 3 months kind of.
I'm about like 2 months in, so it's probably gonna take around like 2.5.
I think that with making your own dress, you can like really choose how much effort you want to put into it or how much cost you want to put into it, because like fabric really ranges.
Making one is like obviously a lot cheaper. Mine was only like a little bit over $100.
I know some people getting it like $500. This one costed less than $100, I think.
So my fabric and all with like the thread and everything was like $70.
My fabric in total I think cost around like $80.
My first fabric on top was almost $200. I just think it's really creative to like have your own spin on something and like make it your own. No one will have like your dress, so it's really personal to you.
Opportunities such as these courses build a foundation for graduates who want to begin their career. One of these graduates, Nick Vitale, has been working on some pieces of his own.
Yeah, so I graduated from Hempfield in 2018 and I took the contemporary fashion class. I'm working on graphic design, photography, I'm getting into makeup. I also do a lot of art, I paint a lot.
Nick followed his aspirations and decided to run his own fashion show.
I think I started production around February. I kind of worked pretty fast, so I put the date April 5th in mind, did a model search, and then from there I just started working night, day. Yeah, each piece was kind of directed towards the model and how I thought they emotionally brought things. Just everyday items, kind of thrifted things, records. I'm really inspired by color, a lot of feelings, a lot of local youth. I used a lot of people from Hempfield High School as well as other schools around the area.
From working in the classroom to holding your own fashion show, the contemporary fashion courses here at Hempfield give students resources and skills that will help them in the future. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Sarah Vanderlaan.
Within sports, there is always the possibility of injury. Zach Rhoda gives us an insight as to how one player is set to bounce back from it.
After we get that, bend the knees even more and get the balls of your feet off the ground and then back down.
Some of life's very hardships involve something you love being taken from you. In this case, it's the game of football. Max Hostetter is a junior at Hempfield High School whose life has always revolved around playing football. After having a promising freshman season, he went on to miss the majority of his sophomore and junior seasons due to his stress fracture in his right foot and then a broken left tibia.
So the hardest part about not playing the last 2 seasons was definitely not being able to build the relationships with the people on the field that you want to build relationships with. Running out on the field with them on a Friday night is something that a lot of people who don't play football don't understand. But when you do that, it's a lot more than football, I feel like. I love football because it opens up doorways outside of the game, even when you progress through your life. So college, relationships, leadership, I feel like that all comes along with playing football.
Jonathan Lee, founder and owner of the Concrete Jungle, was a referral made by one of Max's teammates. Max has been working with Jonathan for the past year in hopes of bettering himself as an athlete.
So we're going 3 times a week, and every time that we meet, he's covering his flexibility, his mobility, his synergistic approach to his muscles, and then we, of course, lift. The most important thing that we do a lot of is position-specific drills. So things that are like taking a moment in his sport and promoting it to the highest performance level. That way, when he does it, it just becomes a habit. His relentless approach to his work ethic is probably, I mean, look at him right now. He's working and I'm not even over there. So, you know, he's probably one of the hardest workers I know. There's a select few of them that I work with, and he's one of them.
Just let me know. The decision to go to the trainer was Max's decision 150%. We supported him in his decision to go and dedicate himself to that process, but that was Max coming in and saying, this is what I want to do. Life throws you a lot of curveballs, and we just couldn't be prouder of Max's ability to, pull himself up and come back after, 2 devastating injuries. And, a lot of people would pack it in and, say this isn't for me, but his passion is shining through, and his dedication to the sport is just really something that we're quite proud of.
My mindset going into senior year is to not take anything for granted, because I could easily get injured just as I did other years. I also want to be a leader on the team and win games.
Grip the ground.
Sometimes for young athletes, trips to the hospital may bring devastating news. This wasn't the case for Max. He now has a more positive mindset moving forward and into the 2019 to 2020 season. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Zach Rhoda.
The Keystone Cup is a friendly athletics competition held between 4 different schools and encompassing multiple activities. This is Colson Hunt reporting more on this annual fixture.
The Keystone Cup is a year-long athletic tournament between 4 schools in the PIAA District 3. The goal of the Cup is to promote healthy, high-level competition among schools of 4 different leagues. But how exactly does it work? I spoke to several people about the Keystone Cup and its importance in high school athletics.
Sure, the Keystone Cup came about 4 years ago, where the athletic director from Lower Dauphin contacted Hempfield, Governor Mifflin, and Dallastown, trying to get a competition amongst teams, each from a different league in District 3. And just wanting to get good competition for our non-league events with well-run and competitive athletic programs, and just try to build a relationship amongst the 4 schools.
I had the initial idea of reaching out to Mr. Polonis, at Hempfield, and Pat Tolley at Governor Mifflin, and at the time Tori Harvey at Dallastown, and saying, hey, what do you guys think about doing something where we play each other in every sport so we can guarantee some non-league games? And I came up with the concept because I was struggling getting non-league games. I had when you have certain sports that you're strong in, people don't want to play you in the non-league. So what I figured was this would be a great trade-off. We all had sports that we were strong in. We all had sports that we weren't so strong in, but we were always competitive in everything.
The tournament is not only fun, but also beneficial for coaches and players.
It's always nice to compete with teams outside your league. I mean, everybody enjoys the league competition, but it's nice to get those non-league games and see how you stack up against somebody outside of your league, and having some team represented from each of the 4 different leagues that make up our district. It's a neat way to do that, and just to compete and see where you stack up before you go into postseason.
We definitely get better exposure and just different styles of plays, because for Governor Mifflin for lacrosse, they're good, and they're potential district meetups with them for playoffs, and I definitely think they have a different style of play that gives us more experience on how to deal with them and how to eventually play other teams like that.
Now that the official results are in, how did the 4 teams stack up in the Keystone Cup?
When the results came in, that I think Dallastown May had won by 1 point over Hempfield, and I think Governor Mifflin was only 8 points behind. So it was really close.
I just think it's great to be able to represent Hempfield. As a former Black Knight, I was a student athlete here, and so it's neat to come back as a coach and to work with the student athletes and to go and represent Hempfield against these other schools. And I'm always proud of the way we carry ourselves as an athletic department. I think most of our teams really buy into the idea of competing at the highest level possible, doing their best, but also doing it with class, and it's an honor to be a part of it.
The Keystone Cup is a fantastic way to build relationships and promote healthy competition among high school athletes. Whether you play soccer, volleyball, basketball, or any other sport, you're guaranteed to have to play hard to stand a chance in the Keystone Cup. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Colson Hunt.
In April, the Hempfield Quiz Bowl team claimed the Pennsylvania State Championship and moved on to the National Championship over Memorial Day weekend. Riley Klepper went to go sit down with the team to learn more about their achievement.
The Little Albert experiment.
Watson.
Yes, sir.
It is a game in which two teams compete head-to-head to answer a variety of questions, and Hempfield's high school team recently won an amazing award.
I'm Nishant, I'm a senior.
I'm Will, I'm also a senior.
I'm Carson, I'm a sophomore.
I'm Ryan, I'm a senior.
We won the Pennsylvania State Academic Competition. We were first place in that, and that's a Quiz Bowl tournament that takes the winner of each local competition. So we won the Lancaster Lebanon League, and they pit those winners against each other to determine a state champion.
Quiz Bowl takes a lot of in-depth knowledge, but how does one retain this much information?
I mean, some of us have like really bad mnemonics.
Oh.
Like I know Ryan has like a big book.
Here, I
just
can show it.
Facts.
This is the book of content right here. It's not that thick. It's only like 20 pages, but like...
It's very dense.
Yeah, it's very dense.
As he writes microscopically.
It's true. Yeah, but usually like when we hear like a question, and like this year we've all like tried to go into separate like areas. So when we hear a question that like we think we should know that's in our area, we'll usually just write it down, then like look it up on like Wikipedia or something.
Every member of a team has their own strengths, and these guys are no different.
So I'm mainly like a literature person, and then Ryan's like our science, music, and world history kind of thing. And Carson's like American history and current events, and then Will like picks up a lot of things, but he's also really good at like religion, mythology, and like the arts.
You may have realized by now that these guys are smart, but I wanted to see if I had what it takes.
This man helped a disguised Hera across the river Norris.
Jason.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just gonna clap and say
This is the smoothest known object in the solar system. The thick ice and thin ice models differ whether this moon's ocean of liquid water is likely to interact with the surface. Europa? It is Europa.
What? I was gonna say like space water.
Said the sun. We literally gave you enough
Space
time.
water.
This river, which was the subject of the Kamizal dispute, is a specifically mentioned in Abraham Lincoln's spot resolutions.
Mississippi River.
It is not the Mississippi River.
So like the Nueces.
No, I'm sorry.
That's
After the Battle of San
know what it is
Jacinto, Santa Anna's troops retreated south of for 10 points. What river that defines the modern-day border between
Rio Grande,
Texas and Mexico? Yes.
Well, clearly I'm not as good as these guys, because they're the pros. Their experiences and achievements have served them well beyond the competition, and will continue to in the future. For Hempfield Happenings, my name is...
Riley Klepper.
Students at a young age learn various techniques through the use of a recorder. Ariana DeJesus follows this process as she travels to Rohrstown Elementary.
There are a variety of instruments here to play at Rohrstown Elementary, but playing a recorder is an adequate way of introducing those instruments.
Your turn.
Recorder's great for note reading, and it's part of the music literacy program here at Rohrstown. So all of the elementary schools in Hempfield use either recorder or ORF instruments, which are barred instruments, to learn to play notes on the lines and spaces of the staff.
By using karate belts, Mrs. Fritz uses the program Recorder Karate to help motivate her 5th and 6th grade students learn music notes and the placement of their fingers when playing songs.
Good, that's a really nice sound, but can you blow just a tiny little bit?
Each song gets successively harder, so they start very easy, and that's their white belt, and then they might move on to their yellow and orange belt, and each song gets harder and harder until they finally get to their black belt.
I'm going to make it harder. I'm going to add another leap. My turn.
Along with this motivation, Recorder helps open new doors to students who are interested in playing other instruments.
It's a wonderful bridge to what could be the next step, which is into the band program for a lot of kids. So it's a great place to start.
On my violin, I have to use fingers on the strings. So then it kind of helps me with the recorder too, because I have to use my fingers on this too.
Students can find enjoyment in playing the recorder, whether it's learning notes or playing their favorite song.
My favorite part is learning the new songs because I really enjoy music. I like how it shows different notes how to play. I like Like, kind of the sound of it, it sounds nice.
Roarstown's music literacy program gives a great opportunity for students to play an easy beginner instrument and may spark interest to those who may want to be involved in the band program.
From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Ariana De Jesus.
The Landisville Lantern is an online student-run newspaper that was formed by 5th grader Nicolina Conrad. Abby Minnick travels to the Landisville Intermediate Center to give us more insight into her world.
Media and how people obtain information has drastically changed over the years thanks to what's on this, the internet.
There are less paper newspapers in the world. It happens. Now everything's digital and people don't really feel the need to consume news in that way. So what do? We make news for the platforms that they're consuming news on. It definitely has changed the playing field, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. It's impacted journalism in the way that if you go to school for print journalism and you expect to be working for a solid newspaper forever, it might be a lot harder to find a job.
From 2004, online media revenue skyrocketed compared to printed out newspapers, according to Google, NAA, and PIB. Understanding this media change, a local 5th grader, Nicolina Conrad, created the Landisville Lantern, an online newspaper for her entire school to take part in.
You don't see the newspaper as much anymore. We get a lot of our news digitally, so it made sense for us to make this magazine/newspaper. The Landisville Lantern is what she came with, what Nicolina came up with for idea, more on a digital basis. Nicolina came to me, I think January, February time, and said she was really interested in creating a school newspaper where students could choose to write their own articles and from there kind of demonstrate their writing ability and share it with each other in a more authentic way. You don't always know if there's actually going to be an audience to it. What's neat about this newspaper is there's an audience. There's other people that are going to read it. And that really is very motivating to our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders that they know other people are going to read it.
The Landisville Lantern offers a lot for students to read.
We have teacher interviews to get their background info. We have like school projects that happen, maybe some recipes here and there, and then like fun activities and maybe some polls. Pretty much just me doing it. We were going to have 2 editors, one in 4th grade, one in 6th grade, but then we were like, why? Because then it will have more work for me to do. The first newspaper, I've had a lot of comments on it, but we upload it to Schoology so everyone can see it, and I've seen this past, for the April newspaper, I've seen kids just pop up here and there. Like, in math class right away, sometimes our teachers are talking to each other, so like, I see some kids like go on and see what's there.
Adults believe that starting this newspaper has allowed Nicolina to grow and stand out as a student.
What's nice is she's learned some subtle leadership skills and communication skills. It's amazing what she did. When she came to me with it, I said, you know, I'm the principal of the building, so it's not like I can meet with you every cycle day. She does a tremendous amount of work outside of school to collect all the articles and then to format them.
Passion like that takes place so young, like she's going to nurture that passion throughout her whole life. That's really cool. I see that and I immediately become inspired. The fact that she is that young and wanting to unite the school in that way, that's really promising.
Although newspapers have become less and less popular, Nicolina Conrad found a way to connect an entire building of people through the use of one. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Abby Minnick.
Drug addiction has been found to tear apart families and ruin lives, but the drug court is a way in which individuals affected can receive a second chance. Hannah Morris looks further into this program.
There are many reasons one may end up in court, typically leaving with jail time. But in the Lancaster County Drug Court, one may leave with a second chance.
Basically, Drug Court is a program that's designed to help people help themselves get clean and sober.
The program really works if you want it to work. Like if you're serious about changing, you're gonna change. If you just keep putting us in jail and none of us get any help while we're in jail, most of us are gonna come out of jail and go right back to doing the same stuff we were doing. Like nothing's gonna change.
To stop this cycle of recidivism, participants are required to meet with a parole officer, continue their education, find a job, and complete community service.
If people choose by their actions not to comply with all of the requirements, they can be discharged from the program, and then I sentence them on the original charges.
Either you're gonna succeed because you want to, or you're gonna fail and go right back to living the same miserable life you led before.
Drug Court is designed to provide support not only from Judge Ashworth, but between participants.
In the beginning, it was a struggle. As you go on, like the thoughts get less and less. Like they're still there sometimes, but it's not as intense as it was in the beginning.
Addiction is a disease. It's not a moral failing, it's not a choice. Addiction doesn't care what color your skin is, it doesn't care what your religion is, doesn't care how much money you make. We've had people from all walks of life in our drug court program.
The program is focused around rehabilitation and is designed to be a more beneficial method to stop addictive behavior rather than putting participants in jail.
It's great. Like, I'm in the last phase, so as long as I don't get any sanctions between now and June 25th, I'll graduate. There's a plan for the pain, and there's serenity through surrender, and there's redemption in recovery.
The Drug Court program is based around community rather than punishment. It is not only helpful to the participants, but to the people around them as well to promote a healthy, drug-free lifestyle. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Hannah Morris, and court is adjourned.
Hempfield's Dr. Redkay and her class were invited to the state capitol. For our final story of the show, Casey Kreider follows their journey to Harrisburg.
I'd like to welcome you to the 28th Annual Student Showcase at the PA Capitol, sponsored by PAECT.
Here at the Capitol building in Harrisburg, students are getting a special opportunity to show off their skills in STEM through the Student Technology Showcase. The Student Technology Showcase is run by the Pennsylvania Association of Educational Communications and Technology. For Dr. Jessica Redkay, this was her first time at the showcase, and her students got to show off different ways in which STEM was being utilized in the classroom.
I was able to bring two groups of students today. So the one group of students that we have are from the Girls Who Code Robot Club, and they were able to teach lessons to younger students. And so they have Robin from RoboKind here, and they're showing how they code. The other group of students that we have here are from the Landisville Primary Center, and they're showcasing the different ITEA STEM unit things that we did together this past year.
Showcase Chair Mrs. Susan Allen explains that the unique aspect of the showcase is all about the students themselves.
The students are doing all the presentations at the showcase. It is not advisors or adults doing the presentations. It's completely the students. They've practiced, they're doing and producing a live stream that their parents back in the district can watch, and they're running the whole show.
We took turns programming Robin to say different kids' names, and the students had an opportunity to practice recognizing different emotions of others.
After their presentations, students were given a private tour of the state's capitol as the payoff for their hard work. After following the students around for the day, it's clear to see what is out there to be gained from this experience.
I think it's just a great opportunity that they get to come here to Harrisburg, and they get to go on a private tour of the Capitol. They get to come here and connect and see what people are doing all across the state. And it's just a great opportunity for Hempfield to get to come here and showcase all of the great things that we're doing with STEM and technology in the classroom.
Overall, the students' trip to Harrisburg is recognition of the extra time and effort that they have put into bettering the educational environment here at Hempfield. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Casey Kreider.